Greetings everyone. Today I've got a treat for you. I'm standing here in front of Texas Aircraft's new plane, the Colt. This is a new LSA and they're starting to market this here in North America. I have two guests here I want to introduce you to, and I'm going to give you a little walk around tour. Actually, I'm going to have these gentlemen do the walk around tour and show you what makes this plane so great and so different. Right here I have the head of Texas Aircraft's North American sales, is that right?
Yes, Caio Braga. How are you
nice
today?
to meet you, Kyle. And over here, the chief pilot for Texas Aircraft, and you are, sir?
Humberto, Vivanco.
All right, nice to meet you. So I've had a couple minutes to walk around the aircraft. It really looks great. Kyle, tell me a little bit about this plane. What's it for? Who's it marketed to? What niche are you trying to fill, and what makes it such a good aircraft?
Yes, absolutely, Trip. So thanks for having us here today. So the Colt is a special LSA airplane, and LSA stands for a light sport aircraft. So it's a two-seater aircraft, and it has a maximum takeoff weight of 20 pounds. So that means that it's a small, light, and very versatile airplane, and it can take you many places. I mean, it has all the instruments in the full version. So, and it takes a very little instruction, if you will. You know, if you're not a pilot, you know, pretty much 20 hours to get your first license. So it stands in a category that, you know, it's less than a private pilot. For, you know, existing pilots, or even if you're not a pilot, it's a great way to you know, get to many places, you know, around the country.
Now I'm actually standing here doing this interview at the New Braunfels Airport, but you guys are actually from Hondo, Texas, which is what, about 60-70 miles to the west of here. Tell me about all that. How'd you guys end up in Hondo?
Right. So we decided to establish our manufacturing facility in the U.S. As a matter of fact, because our airplane, just to go a little bit of a history, right? So we had, this is the 5th generation of previous project that were you know, established in Brazil. So we had more than 350 aircrafts flying as of today. So this is a new model, but it's not a new project. So, and eventually we'll decide that in order to capture the U.S. market, it will be a great idea to have a manufacturing facility in the U.S. So it's a truly made in U.S. project. So, and then we decided for Hondo because of the location, the facility there, especially the airport. The city was also very welcoming. So then that's the reason we're there.
So what all do you actually have going on right now in Hondo?
Yes, absolutely. So first and foremost, you might see the airplane shows experimental, but this is the airplane for, this is the prototype, right? So we are, this airplane has flew already 150 hours. So we are certifying as a special LSA, you know, through the, you know, through FAA and using ASTM certification. So we are very close to that process, and it has been a lane process, but the original project is to have a special LSA, or in other words, a certified airplane flying. So we are building this airplane in Hondo. So right now we are actually starting at the ramping up production, taking sales orders. We're gonna be at Oshkosh, the 50th edition this year, 2019. We have the official launch, what we say, the worldwide launch in Oshkosh.
All right, can you tell me what makes this plane a little bit different than some of the other LSAs out there? Anything in particular?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things that our chief designer Caio learned from his previous experience is that the type of construction, right? So we, as you can see, all the riveting is solid, you know, and this is a traditional construction, if you will, you know, like Cessna and all the certified airplanes, Piper, and using it's a full aluminum, aeronautical aluminum, from you know, the fuselage, the wings, you know, all the way to the empennage. So it's a full aluminum aircraft, and a lot of pilots, especially the traditional ones, they like it because that's the way that they have been flying for many years. So it's a proven construction, it's reliable, and it's durable. So it's an airplane that was made to last generations to come.
I would imagine with the aluminum construction that you've got low weight, you've got lower cost and you've got good performance as opposed to, let's say, an all graphite airplane, which you may have be a little lighter, a little bit better performance, but a lot more money.
That's exactly true. So I'm glad that you brought that up. So we choose to balance the performance with durability and maintenance as well. So this is a low maintenance airplane, right? So the cell, we expect, we don't have the exact number right now, but it will take many years of utilization from an airframe perspective.
So you've kind of designed this plane to be an everyman's airplane, an affordable option that people can get into maybe as a first real airplane after, so let's say they've had fractional ownership or getting their feet wet in the aircraft market.
Absolutely, that's a great point. So as we get people interested in people calling us, so one thing that we see that pilots that were they flew GA aviation or general aviation, they own Pipers or Cessnas, but you get into an age that is one of the things that staying a pilot because of the age restrictions, right? So, and if you hold a LSA license, so the medical requirements, they are less stringent as long as you're able to hold a driver's license. So in other words, you keep flying as you age, and then you have an airplane that is reliable and it's durable. So the
plane's probably going to outlast you, in other words.
Yes, absolutely.
If you take
we
care
like
of
to
it.
joke about that you're going to leave the airplane for your grandkids, hopefully they will like flying, right? So that's all the pilots' wishes, right? They take on the passion.
Now I want to take a few minutes here and talk with the chief pilot for Texas Aircraft, Humberto Vivanco. And I know you've got what, 150 or so hours in this plane.
95% of all the hours.
So you've got more time, if I understand correctly, in this plane than anybody else in North America. Excellent. So I tell you what, if you want to just talk to me about your experiences with the airplane, if someone was thinking about buying one of these, what do they need to know from a performance standpoint? Let's walk around the aircraft, take a look, and then take a peek inside.
The engine is a 912 Rotax ULS, dual carbureted, 3-bladed prop, so it's very smooth operation. In flight, there's very little, if any, vibration at all.
And how many horsepower will this?
100 horsepower.
100 horsepower. And tell me a little bit about the prop. I see 3 blades here. Is this a fixed or a variable pitch?
It's a variable pitch. You can adjust it on the ground, but you cannot adjust it during flight. It is a nose. The nose wheel is castering, which makes the airplane moving on the ground very, very easy, and you can turn it on a dime. Again, it's just a 2-seater, very basic. It's got a yoke instead of the standard stick that a lot of the LSAs come with. And it also has, what I like, it's got wheel pants, which makes it look a little more luxurious, and it gives it a little more streamlined sense. A lot of the LSAs just have the bare wheels, and it may save a little weight, but it just doesn't look as professional or as comforting, and it's also more streamlined to have some pants.
It cuts down on that drag. Speaking of cutting down on drag, how fast will this plane go?
Well, it'll cruise easy at 105 or to 115 true.
And that's knots, obviously.
Yeah, true knots. So when we were coming here from Hondo, we were doing about 107 true, and we were doing about 5 gallons an hour burn.
Oh, very good. Speaking of that, how many gallons does the aircraft hold?
It holds about 16 a size, 15.8 a size, so you're well over 30 gallons.
Oh, excellent. So you've got quite a bit of range. What nautical miles?
You're looking anywhere between 600 to 700, depending on your altitude and fuel burn.
That's not bad, really.
Not bad at all.
And how many pounds of fat pilots can you fit in here?
Well, it's maximum
on an average day. On an average day.
On an average day, you can take 280 pounders with about 11 gallons a side.
So 360 pounds of pilot, and then 22 gallons of fuel.
Yeah. So if you wanted to take heavier people or cargo, you can definitely take down the fuel. Even if you have 7 aside, that gives you over 2 hours of flight time with reserve.
So if you've got 2 guys just going up 180 pounds, you're with reserves probably 3.5 hours of flying. Very good.
You got plenty of time and distance, so you can always use that variation to give you more useful payload or more range, depending on what you would prefer.
So back to the 150 hours in this airplane and having more time in this airplane in North America than anybody else, you're probably the most qualified person to answer this question. What is it like to fly this airplane? What makes it different? Do you enjoy flying it?
I absolutely enjoy flying it. It is one of my favorite airplanes to fly all around. The reason being is it's got lot of comfort inside. The cabin is quite spacious. You're not constantly rubbing shoulder to shoulder like you are on a lot of small airplanes. The seat is tilted back just enough to give you a lot of comfort for long range flights. It's got a real nice autopilot. It burns very low fuel, and it's got automatic mixture, so you don't have to worry about mixture control or anything like that. It's all electronically injected. Another thing is the performance. This thing will stall at 38, 30, and about 40 with 10 degrees of flaps. So that means that you have the performance in short field that you would get on a J3 Cub, but yet the speed and range, if not higher than a 172, a conventional airplane. I love the characteristics it's got both in slow and fast flight. The yoke deflection is just less than 90 degrees for full deflection, which tells you you're not going to be swinging the yoke back and forth in slow flight or during landing. Yet high speeds, you barely move it, and it's very, very responsive. If you look at the surface areas on the elevators and on the flaps and on the ailerons, it is quite large, so you always have good control anywhere from stalling speed all the way up to
large control surfaces.
Absolutely.
Around the aircraft.
All right, so let's go ahead and do a walk around of the plane, but let me go ahead and lower the flaps real quick. I want to show you the surface area, and also the flaps are electric, and you can set them at any degree you like. All right, so let's go ahead and do a quick walk around. I'll kind of tell you a little bit about it that I like.
All right.
So here we have your standard pitot tube with a built-in angle of attack indicator, so that's really nice. It's got both visual and audible indication. Fuel tank vent, and we got a small swoop here on the wing tip, which would help with stalling and actually getting rid of some of that buoyancy at the end. If you notice here on the aileron, it's balanced, yet it has very good deflection, and it's actually sturdy. It's not flapping around with the wind. So as I was mentioning about the control surface area, if you look, it's quite large for the size of the airplane, and it's got well balanced, and it's very sturdy. It's not going to be flapping around like some of the other.
Yeah, it feels pretty sturdy. There's not a lot of deflection when you squeeze on that aluminum.
Yeah, so here we got large area flaps as well, which help you, on a stabilized, slow approach to landing. These will be coming with ballistic parachutes.
Oh, cool.
So
excellent. Kind of like the Cirrus, huh?
Kind of like the Cirrus, yep. And so we have static pour. Everything here is pretty much aluminum. The only pieces of carbon fiber will be some of these tips here on the elevator.
Now I know on the old Cessnas these things would age in the sun and crack and were a real pain in the butt, so that's going to take that away, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So these are supposed to last, the life of the aircraft. Again, if you look at the elevator, it's well balanced. It's pretty much stays where you leave it. It's not going to slam or hit anything. The rudder, it feels almost as if it weren't connected. It's really light on the pedals.
Oh, that is great. Yeah, very responsive.
Yes. Electronic trim, it helps you on your descent. You don't have to be fighting the airplane. You can just stabilize it. All right, so we move on to the other side. It's basically just the opposite side copy of the airplane. Again, it's just a flat.
Now I keep seeing this experimental here. When do you guys expect to not be experimental?
As of about 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah,
fantastic.
We're finalizing all the certification through the FAA to make them just certified LSA.
Come and get them, folks.
Absolutely.
All right, where were we? Let's sorry to interrupt.
No big deal. So we have just a GPS antenna, large flap, the other side aileron. We have your trim, and then again back into the wingtip, LED lighting, fuel vent, I'm sorry, and back to the front.
All right, and that is a Rotax engine in there.
Rotax.
And what model engine was it again?
A 912 ULS.
Well, we've seen the outside of this baby. Humberto, what do you say? You take us on a little tour of the cockpit.
Of course. On in. So everything's pretty much wrapped in leather. Everything is in the factory. We have guys dedicated for, you know, upholstery and avionics, and everything is done inside.
That is nice. You've got leather seats, you've got leather on the yoke, you've got leather here in the console.
So let me show you the baggage area so you can see how much space you have back here.
Oh, that is nice, yeah.
And the useful is 44.1 pounds. You can carry equipment, your scooters. A lot of people nowadays have those electric scooters they want to be playing around with, so you can take that with you. It's got plenty of room. Easiest way to get in is butt in first, then your feet. It's very easy actually. There's not a lot of fuses and buttons. Mainly everything's going to be here for your control. You have your master avionics, alternator, fuel pump, strobe, and the lights. Autopilot disconnect. The Dynon avionics is very similar to a Garmin. So if you're used to a Garmin G3X or a G1000, it's going to be very similar. A lot of these competitors are making everything user friendly, so there shouldn't be any issues getting it adjusted. So here we have airspeed, altimeter, and due to the experimental evaluation of this airplane, we had alternative fuel, oil pressure, oil temperature, which are now in op. On the new certified airplanes, we will not have those three. We will have a VSI, a turn coordinator, and a airspeed indicator.
Very nice. I see you've got ventilation on the doors there.
Yes.
And does that passenger side window open, or?
No, so we will have, on the new ones, we will have NACA scoops, so you'll have your eye hole vents inside. They will not have these anymore.
Okay.
In the future, we are talking about having small opening windows to attract more air inflow during taxiing or before takeoff.
Very nice. Okay, I'm assuming those are for the flaps right there, that toggle.
Yes.
And there's your fuel selector. All right, I'm assuming that's the throttle. It says throttle right there. Take me through your control panel here. What all do we have there on this? And what did you say that was again? What sort of?
It's a Dynon Skyview. So here you have your engine parameters, time. It will give you fuel you've used, the fuel range, your flap indicator, and as you can see, it's all electric. Current fuel in each tank, your total hobs, everything that you need to monitor your engine, and then you have your attitude and your speed tape, altitude tape over here. You can also display a map, do your flight planning on here as well. You can generate a flight plan and have the autopilot, you know, coupled and follow everything.
Now, do you have any sort of radar in there? Is that an option, or?
Not for weather. We do have traffic, and you can either do it that way, or you can just have your synthetic vision. This is a charging port, and the new one will have dual USB chargers here and then an additional 12-volt outlet.
Now I've got both these fine fellows sitting in the cabin here, and it does look fairly roomy. I can tell you, I've flown a 150 and some Cessnas, and for this plane size, it does look like it has a little bit of room to it, leg room and shoulder room. Do you want to shut that other?
Yes, absolutely. So you can see for yourself, I mean, how the roomy the airplane is. See, you know, you have a seat rest, the arm rest over here, so pretty comfortable when you're in flight. So we don't have to touch
You've got
each other,
you've got
arms,
three or four inches of space between your shoulders. That's great.
Exactly.
Now I forgot to mention, I noticed these headrests, and they look pretty similar to the ones I have in my car. Do those extend?
Yes. Yeah, they do. And as a matter of fact, on our certified model, we have redone a little bit of redesigned the seats, so they actually will be higher than this, so it will be really comfortable. I mean, this is really comfortable, but we just made some minor adjustments.
Now, do these seats lean up and lean back?
They do.
Okay, guys, well, I guess that wraps it up for now. I just wanted to ask you, obviously, everything comes at a price in this great baby. I'm just curious, is what this airplane might set people back if they want to pick one up.
What I can tell right now, you know, our official launch will be in Oshkosh, so just feel free to reach out for us, and then I will be happy to discuss in more details. But this will be in a price range that we're not the most expensive, we're not the least expensive, and for what we're offering, this is really a great deal and airplane.
So you're going to give people a great value.
Absolutely.
Basically, I'll tell you what. At the end of this video, I will put Caio's contact information down beneath the video. If you have any interest in the Texas Aircraft Colt LSA, just look down there, give him a shout, or send him an email. I'm sure he'll be able to and happy to answer all your questions. Well, listen, guys, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure learning about the Colt LSA by Texas Aircraft in Hondo, Texas. I know you guys need to get out of here, so
one more thing, if you will, I would like to invite anyone who's wants to visit us and just, you know, see our facility, and more importantly, to fly the Colt. You are our guest, so please.
All right, and for those of you who don't know, Hondo is about 50 miles driving distance west of San Antonio.
Right.
All right.
Please reach out. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Take care. Fly safe.
Thank you.